Blake Lively says, "Bring on the depositions. She ain't afraid of no Baldoni." And what Scooter Braun got to do with all this? Is she trying to hook Taylor Swift right back? Well, baby got back. Let's get it. Welcome on in, guys. Let's go. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. It's so interesting. Can I just say the number of attorneys that I talk to behind the scenes, off the record, whatever, um, the number of attorneys and just like legal experts that I speak to that are just like everything about this Blake Lively thing is so shady and so weird and so manipulative. And I agree 1000%. It's just funny to me that um I don't know. To me, if when you have truth and evidence on your side, like you shouldn't need to play all of these games, right? You shouldn't need to do all of this like weird, shady crap behind the scenes with John Doe lawsuits and secret subpoenas and playing in the shadows and um avoiding investigations into your claims and being shady and like pretending that you don't know how an investigation or how to file an HR complaint. Like somebody like Blake Lively, who has filed HR complaints in the past, is not dumb. She's not naive as much as she wants to play that she was, the one that was less powerful and didn't have all of the resources because Baldoni was the director. He was her boss. I mean, only idiots can believe that Blake Lively did not have the upper hand. She had Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, her dragons, and all of this. But it's funny, just the number of attorneys that have reached out to me that talked to me that, you know, I was even fingers crossed. I don't know if we can make it happen, but I was trying to get the attorney that instated 47.1 to talk to her about this and be like, how, like, do you agree? Do you think that this hurts women? Do you think that this hurts women's rights? We saw Julia Fox come out yesterday, and Julia Fox was very much believing in her, despite whether or not she's right or wrong, which was so strange. I know we covered that on the show yesterday. Like, it's all just so, to me, wackadoodle crazy, but whatever. What do I know? I'm just a dumb man, right? But it's interesting because Patty Stanger has been up in, I don't know if you guys remember who Patty Stanger is. She used to host the show Millionaire Matchmaker, $1 Million Matchmaker. I believe it was on Bravo, and then I think it moved to like WeTV or something for a minute. She's been on different networks, had different style shows, but she's a matchmaker, famous, popular matchmaker, arguably. Here, I'll pull up her Instagram account. That way you guys can see her if you're not familiar with her. And she's been all up in my comments lately, and she is very anti Justin Baldoni, which, I mean, listen, your prerogative, do you, boo? But so this is her. She had Patty Stinger, The Matchmaker, which was on the CW. Funny enough, I actually filmed for this show. I met her very briefly. She, from what I recall, wasn't very friendly to the production crew. Didn't really care to have any interest in me. The producers were really excited to have her meet me, and then I met her. I wasn't actually like one of the people she was setting up on the show, but um, my friend happened to be a friend with some of the producers on the show, and they, I guess, were asking for people to be extras or like people in the background. And so he's like, "Do you want to come and meet me for lunch?" And then, that we're just going to be in the background as Patty films her show. And he's like, "They just need bodies in the room." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And so I came along and we went and we taped it and we had a great time. And production was great. Everything was great. Patty, not so sweet. I didn't really love the way that she spoke to the production crew. I probably to this day could tell you she probably doesn't even remember meeting me ever. And I remember they were like, "Patty, you should take a picture with Zach. Like he has a really big podcast and reality TV and blah, blah, blah." And she didn't want to take a picture with me. She was tired, understandably. Listen, it was a long day of taping. I understand. I mean, a simple selfie or a simple just photo. I didn't even ask for the photo. The producers asked if Patty would take the photo with me. That way I could promote the show and talk about the show when the show was coming out. It aired on the CW. Um, yeah, I didn't really hear anything about the show, but anyway, I've never had anything against Patty Stanger. I've always very much, um, enjoyed her, found her entertaining, thought she was really, fun to watch on television, and so that's why it was so interesting that she continues to come up into my comments lately. And I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about her, but she had Patty Singer, the matchmaker. This didn't last. This, I believe, aired last April on the CW and didn't go anywhere. That said, she's been in my comments. First, she said, FYI, plenty of people on set complained about Justin. He was inappropriate and his production company never put it in the production records. And I responded to her on Instagram and I was like, "Oh, really? Thank you, Patty, for enlightening us. Do you have any batch of evidence or any bit of proof? All we've heard are things that are outlined in Blake Lively's CRD complaint and then in her, amended complaint that she filed officially in her New York lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. We've heard things, but we've also heard that, Jamie Heath's birthing video of his wife that again was posted on Instagram and didn't violate any community guidelines and showed no nudity. It was a very wholesome video of a woman who just gave birth and her newborn baby and the father who was right behind them. It was a wholesome family just given birth video that Blake Lively described in her complaint as pornographic. And then anybody that watched that video, including Instagram, who did not flag it for violating their community guidelines, was kind of shocked, perplexed, right? Then we saw the video of Blake Lively in the dancing montage where she described that there was a day on set where no audio was being recorded and Justin Baldoni smelled her and told her that she smelled so good. And I was like, what? Are we, what? Because when we watched the footage, we saw that that's not actually what happened. We saw that they were in close proximity because they were in a dancing scene. It was a scene between Lily and Ryle, Blake Lively's character, Lily, Justin Baldoni's character, Ryle. They were dancing. They were in close proximity to each other. She breaks character by saying, because again, she didn't think that any audio was being recorded. She didn't realize he had a mic on and all audio was being recorded. Interesting. I assume the producers were prepared for something like this based off of her on-set behavior, according to what they claim. But we heard the audio, we watched the raw footage, all 3 unedited cuts were released, and we see the exact moment that she described where she said he smelled her and told her that she smelled so good, right? And then we see that that's not what happened, that she apologizes for she's like, "Oh, sorry if my spray tan smells." I'm paraphrasing, but she basically is like, "Sorry that my spray tan smells." And I, as somebody that's gotten a number of spray tans in my life, they do have a very distinct smell to them. I often walk into a room or if I hug somebody, I'm like, "Sorry if I smell like spray tan." I always say that. With the first like few days of having a spray tan, it has that spray tan smell. As much as they try to make it smell like coconut, it just has that very distinct smell. She apologizes for the smell of her spray tan. He says, "You smell good." Like, it's fine. Like, he kind of like dismisses it and it's like, "You smell good." And she's like, "Oh, that's just my body makeup." And then you can clearly see in each of those takes of the unedited raw footage, the second the assistant director calls cut, Baldoni's attention pulls away from Blake. He breaks character. And so what she initially described in her complaint and what we watched in that raw video footage was not at all what she claimed. And I know the Blake bots will be delusion enough to me like, "Oh, she was uncomfortable, you can tell she's uncomfortable." And I'm like, she's not Blake Lively in this moment, she's playing Lily. They're playing a cat and mouse game where the man Ryle is pursuing the woman Lily and she's playing coy. That's part of her character, that's part of what's happening in this scene. As much as you want to live in Delulu land, that's literally part of what is happening in this exact scene that is being filmed, right? Anyway, so we had the birthing video, we had the miscategorization of, what she claims happened in that scene, and then she rewrote in her amended complaint, she rewrote the entire description that basically described what we saw in the Daily Mail to make it seem like, "Oh, no, this is what really happened." When it's like you didn't even know that there was audio being recorded, and then you got caught because they showed that there was audio and you can clearly hear yourself, saying, "Sorry about my spray tan," and he responds to you, and then you can also see him break character, like, he pulls away from her and doesn't engage with her the second that cut is yelled. You can see that. Watch the footage again. I would love to play if I had it loaded up here, I would have played it. But yeah, so that's miscategorization number 2. We have her saying that the term when he used the term "sexy," right? And then we saw the text messages where she claims that she wanted her character's outfits to look sexy. She wanted Lily to have a sexier appeal to her. And it's like, well, again, these are miscategorizations of things. So Patty Stinger is solely going based off of what Blake Lively claims. I don't think Blake Lively has a ton of credibility in this moment, right? But here is, and then I responded to Patty. She didn't give me any evidence like I asked her to. I broke it down. I was like, she's avoided 3 different investigations. There's currently a 4th ongoing investigation. Just to recap for everybody, Wayfair could have investigated this during production. They did not. So, Wayfair or Sony. I mean, if Sony was the financer or the backer, I'm pretty sure there was some sort of team there. If she would have threatened legal action against Sony, they would have investigated this. Neither of them did because both Sony and Wayfair have gone on record to say that no formal HR complaints were ever filed by Blake Lively. That's not to say that Baldoni and his team didn't record any complaints. You're responsible for filing an HR complaint. It's not the company's responsibility to file a complaint for every single concern that you have. Yes, there's a certain level of communication that needs to be had, but there were no formal concerns that were ever met at the time of production, right? Fast forward, okay, if you really had such a big concern, then go to SAG. SAG, who she had issue a statement in support of her, that's what they're there for, to protect actresses like Blake Lively, to protect any actor on set, right? She didn't have SAG investigated it. Then when the California CRD, the Civil Rights Department, offered to investigate, she declined. She wanted a right to sue letter instead, and then didn't end up suing him in California. She only sued him in New York, which was conveniently done, and it's a federal case out of New York, which means no cameras will be allowed in the courtroom. Interesting, convenient, huh? So too many convenient coincidences. We have the shady Van Zandt lawsuit and the subpoena to Stephanie Jones, but then Patty Stanger continued when she responded to Brian Friedman's interview with TMZ, which we played on the show yesterday. And Patty Stanger responded, and she said, "He will never win. Justin, you will go bankrupt and never work again. No one will hire you." Like you, Patty, because it doesn't seem like you have a television on the show. All 3 of your shows have been taken off the air. No one will hire you. Drop this guy. Terrible lawyer. A lawyer that uses the press to sway public opinion. Judges loathe. Really? Because Lively is doing her fake victory tour right now, saying that she won something in the name of women, that all of her amicus briefs, did something to help her, when the judge made it clear that he didn't factor in any of those amicus briefs in his decision to dismiss the claims of defamation. He made it very clear as to how and why he did that. Again, it was technically a technicality that she got off on. She continues to say, Patty continues to write, "Many people complained on set about you, Justin, but you never wrote it up on the production report." Okay. Again, those people, if the complaints were associated, like, what were the complaints? We heard the production was a bit chaotic. Are those the complaints, that maybe the days were a little too long? Why were the days long? They're claiming that the days were long because Blake Lively was making script changes every day and she was delaying production, right? Remember, wardrobe was delayed and the budget was driven up because she didn't like any of the selected wardrobe outfits and she wanted her own wardrobe. She wanted to control Lily's wardrobe, which a lot of people seem to have hated. Like, she just seemed like she made this set very chaotic, and it seems like Baldoni, in his own right, has to take responsibility because he allowed her and enabled her to have all of this. But I'm just like, Patty, until you have some evidence, stop coming up into my comments, or at least give me something, right? Because you're giving me absolutely nothing. 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 How many F's do I give? Zero, zero, zero. None, not one. Zero, zero. Done. All right, let's go to a quick message from this week's sponsors, and then I have a very special something to share with you guys. Well, we are officially kicking off summer, and I feel like I want to get out of the house this summer. I need something to do. I want to get out and have some fun. Let's have some fun. This beat is sick, right? Whether it's a music concert or maybe even a comedy show. I haven't been to a comedy show in a minute. You feel me? This is why I'm really excited to give today's sponsor, which is SeatGeek, a huge shout out. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app, okay? There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Right now, you can get tickets to Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar and SZA, Katy Perry, Morgan Wallen, Post Malone, Justin Timberlake. Maybe we're going to be bringing sexy back this summer. I'm bringing sexy back. Them other brothers don't know how to act. I mean, I kind of feel like I haven't been to a comedy show in a minute. I haven't even been to a concert in a hot second. Let's see. Let's see what's even on SeatGeek right now. Let me go on the SeatGeek app. Let's go on the SeatGeek. Okay, Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know. I'm not really in the mood for a sports. Let's see what's in comedy. There's a Matt Rife concert, and tickets are only $74. What? Oh my God. I think I'm down for this. Matt Rife? Are we going to Matt Rife? August 18th? I think I'm down. Last time I saw Matt Rife, he was really funny. And I love watching his videos on TikTok and Instagram. Look at this. Quick and easy. I'm going to have to find me a hot date. There we go. Boom. Amazing deal. I can order right now at the touch of a hand with the SeatGeek app. All right, let's get it. SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad, okay? Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. Even better, you can use code NOFILTER10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek, okay? That's 10% off tickets with promo code NOFILTER10. Make sure you click the link in the description below to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. You probably heard that RFK Jr., known for his sharp mind and relentless energy on the campaign trail, is taking methylene blue to stay focused, energized, and mentally resilient. Now you can experience those same benefits with Recharge from the Wellness Company. This doctor formulated nutraceutical is the first to combine methylene blue with urolithin A, creating a unique formula designed to optimize mitochondrial function, improve energy, and elevate cognitive performance. Methylene blue crosses the blood brain barrier to enhance memory, focus, and executive function by increasing ATP production, the true fuel of our cells. It also works as a potent antioxidant and anti inflammatory, helping to protect against aging and cellular damage. So, if you're looking for a real mental and physical edge, Recharge delivers. Get 15% off plus free shipping. Head to twc.health/nofilter and use code NOFILTER. That's twc.health/nofilter and use promo code NOFILTER for 15% off plus free shipping. Feel the difference. Think clearer. Recharge. All right, I know we've been breaking down all that yummy celebrity legal drama, but I'm pretty sure there are a few PR teams that are hoping that I'll take a break from investigating the drama this summer. But guess what? It ain't gonna happen. I got my Pair Eyewear and I am locked and loaded. It takes an eagle's eye to read all these receipts. Pair Eyewear has tons of budget-friendly shapes and styles that don't compromise style or quality. Plus, you get 15% off when you go to paireyewear.com and use code NOFILTER. No shade. Okay, maybe a little shade. But even when I need some shade, I need to block out the haters and block out the sun outside. I've got these Pair sun tops. Look at this. I could just snap it on and I go from indoor to outdoor, indoor to outdoor. And what I love is that they have a variety of different frames. So if I want to switch up my style, I can do it anytime. Pair has sun tops. They have new tinted lens tops. Also really great. They complement any look so that you can take it from casual to chic, whatever floats your boat this summer. Change it up anytime you'd like with all of Pair's collabs and collections. They have Disney, the Met, Marvel, Star Wars, NBA, NHL if you like hockey. They have premium collections, Suntop Sparkle, classic collections, so many options. Find your perfect frame from home with their virtual try-on option, which is also really cool. You can upload, see your face, try them on online, see how it looks on you before ever making the purchase. It's perfect. I love it. And there are so many great options. You can customize it so that it fits you and you feel like you can mix it up depending on your mood for the day. Keep your eagle eyes looking sharp. Go to paireyewear.com and use code NOFILTER for 15% off your first pair. And support the show by mentioning that No Filter with Zack Peter sent you in your post-checkout survey. That's Pair, P-A-I-R, eyewear.com, code NOFILTER. Okay, I see lots of questions in the live chat about Judge Lehman. Okay, so Cassidy O'Connell, I believe, did do a deep dive. It's funny because I'm seeing other creators, even Leanne Newton, who's an attorney who is really big on X. I've had her on this show before. She even says that her tone has changed. So I guess there are a lot of different connections and financial interest that Lyman has into Blake and Ryan. I haven't watched Cassidy O'Connell's video, but I recommend everybody go check it out, make a judgment for themselves. I, again, was very much against the conspiracy theories. I still don't like to dive into the conspiracy theories, but in this case, I don't know. Leanne says that if Lehman disclosed these conflicts of interest up front and Baldoni's team didn't object to them, then it shouldn't be an issue. I don't know. But yeah, Cassidy O'Connell, she's on YouTube. You can check out her videos. I've watched them before. She does really good, like long form content that you can check out. Highly recommend her. And apparently she's got a good deep dive into Judge Lyman. I haven't watched yet, so I don't have a fully baked decision about it, but we shall see. We shall see. Um, oh, every day it's something new, right? Every day, another drama. Okay, so that's Judge Lehman. Let's talk about what Blake's attorneys are saying. So they obviously oof. Brian Friedman has gone on TMZ. He said that, he's expecting Blake Lively to appear for her deposition, which is supposed to take place this month. He said that he is worried she might try to dip out. She might try to end this lawsuit early because she's on her fake victory tour. He says that, he's hoping that she'll definitely show up for her deposition. And now her attorney, Mike Gottlieb, um, he is claiming that they are ready. They say, bring on the depositions. They are prepared to go to trial. They're prepared to go all of the way. They say that Lively wants her lawsuit to go all the way to trial so that she can prove her claims of harassment against Justin Baldoni. So there are no plans for her to drop it. She's ready to get deposed. It's interesting. Interesting. Gottlieb says that they are absolutely going to celebrate because it is a major victory. And listen, as much as I dislike Blake and her legal team, and I think they're super shady and abusing the law and bending it to fit their alternate reality, again, it just shows you that legal and moral are not the same thing. And I think she is morally corrupt. But, and that's my personal opinion, just like how Ryan Reynolds had his personal opinion about Justin Baldoni being a predator. Um, it's she got the win, right? She took the win. Baldoni's team needs to accept the L and move on and keep pushing forward as they will. I don't know how this is going to end, to be honest. I know I always like to refer to Aphrodite, who's the YouTube tarot card reader. He's been really on point with a lot of his analysis and his readings of different celebrity news and scandals. He's been reading this case. And again, I agree with him. Whether he's actually like people want to believe he's got psychic abilities and he's reading the tarot cards, he's at least this the analyzing the full picture here, right? Like he's saying like this is the worst time for Blake to put forth this lawsuit. It's the country is very much in an eat the rich mindset. They don't buy Blake. There are women that have actually faced assault and harassment in the past, and then to have someone like Blake now try to say that she's a representation for them feels laughable to a lot of women. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens. I know she just got her, what was it, garden variety approved, which basically means that like she can express her emotional distress without having to actually provide medical records for that because she can have people testify to how distressed, and how stressed out she was with all of this. I'm sure maybe she'll bring in Michelle Maroney. But again, I highly suggest, I mean, like I said, I like to listen to legal analysis and legal commentators, and I'm on the phone with attorneys every day. It feels like going back and forth about the details and asking questions, all of which you don't see presented on the show because I want to make sure that I have, a factual background of these things and definitions to understand all of it. And I even dip into the woo-woo stuff at times, and I like to see, like, well, what are the TikTok psychics saying? What are the tarot card readers saying? And I like to expose myself to a variety of different opinions and observations of this case, both in layman's, the general person walking down the street, and a number of people have stopped me walking down the street, and talked to me about this case, and I like to get that analysis, and so it seems Aphrodite believe in the power of tarot or not, his reads have been really on point and his predictions have come true. He's predicted that Ryan Reynolds he predicted that Taylor Swift would throw Blake under the bus, and he's predicted that Ryan Reynolds will by the end of this also likely throw her under the bus. But his claim was that neither team is really looking for a court win at this point because it doesn't look like either of them is going to get a crazy payout. It doesn't look like Blake or Baldoni are going to get a massive payout at the end of it. If anything, it may be a wash, but he said that they're all at this point trying to play the game of trying to annihilate the other's character. That they're trying Baldoni's team's trying to prove the truth and show what a snake Blake is, and Blake and Ryan are just trying to embarrass him at this point. Whether they win or not, they want to embarrass him and drain his assets. We'll see. Yeah, Michelle says it's a reputation, not a money win at this point. Yeah, at this point, yeah, I don't think either of them are interested in the money. I mean, obviously, attorneys' fees are expensive. I'm sure they would like to recover those at some point, but they're in a full out war. They are, like I said, Khaleesi winter is coming. We have Khaleesi versus, I believe, would Baldoni in this case be Jon Snow? I haven't watched Game of Thrones. I know references, but I don't know the intricate details. I do know that Khaleesi doesn't live at the end. Her dragons don't seem to save her. So, yeah, they want to destroy him. Yeah, and I believe that. But I agree, it's not about the money at this point. It's about reputation, it's about truth, it's about justice, and sometimes justice doesn't even need to happen in the courtroom. I think people are already rising up and seeing how deceptive Blake and Ryan are. So, we'll see. But now Scooter Braun has been dragged into this. What in the coconut tree? So Justin Bieber's former manager, Scooter Braun, he was at odds with Taylor Swift for a number of years regarding the Masters. And now here we are. Um, Scooter Braun, or well, actually, the headlines are saying that Scooter Braun has been dragged into this mess, but it's not actually Scooter Braun. Like even Deadline, they posted an article that said Blake's version, Scooter Braun's Hybe America subpoenaed by Taylor Swift's pal and Justin Baldoni battle. So it seems they're trying to tie, like now Blake's team seems to be tying Taylor Swift into this with her association to Scooter Braun. Um, I don't understand the relevance of this necessarily, but the press is using Scooter Braun's name as a headline when Scooter Braun is, I believe, a minority investor into Hybe America. So it's unlikely that this is even going to touch um highly unlikely that this is even going to touch Scooter at all. Um yeah, so Hybe America, it's a K-pop, it's defined as a K-pop subsidiary helmed by Braun, according to the cut. But to my understanding, he's an investor in it, but he's not a major piece of it. And for whatever reason, um, I don't know. Actually, so it says Braun serves as a board member of Hybe and the CEO of Hybe America. He is the second largest individual shareholder of Hybe, a multinational. Actually, this is according to Scooter Braun's IMDb page. So maybe he has a bigger role than I initially okay, so as of March 2021, Braun serves as a board member of Hybe and the CEO of Hybe America. He is the second largest individual shareholder of Hybe, a multinational global leader in entertainment. In 2020, Hybe purchased Braun's Ithaca Holdings for 1.2 billion. Today, Hybe stands as the leader in the entertainment industry with revenue over 1.6 billion in 2023. Okay, so it seems he's a shareholder of Hybe and seemingly the CEO of Hybe America. Hybe America is the company that is being subpoenaed by Blake Lively. They just want to see the correspondence between Hybe and Justin Baldoni. So it seems like they're trying to play the same game that Baldoni's team, Brian Friedman, they were trying to play by bringing Taylor Swift into this. Now they want to bring Scooter Braun into this. And I don't know if this is a message to Taylor Swift. Like now we're going to bring in Scooter Braun because obviously Scooter and Taylor have been at odds for a number of years. It's uncertain how Scooter is even relevant to any of this outside of headlines. And again, that very may likely be um, Blake's team just, trying to play Friedman at his own game at this point. Uncertain, kinda dumb. I don't really get it, but whatever. Yeah, interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Um, Pamela says, "I would say Blake looks like a Karen, but I think she's more menacing than that." Mildly Mercurial says, "Scooter is a majority holder in MN Company, apparently." What is MN Company? Scooter Braun has relations with Melissa Nathan. Yes, that's right, that's right. That's the connection. It's not so much the connection between Scooter and Baldoni, it's the connection between Scooter and Melissa Nathan. Again, how this is relevant and what it has to do with Blake Lively is just maybe they're trying to prove that, like, they're working with Scooter Braun in some way to attack Taylor Swift, and that's why they brought Taylor Swift into the litigation, and that this is I don't know. I just I don't know. I don't get it. Denise says, Can you imagine taking a man down just because he rejected you? What an ego." I mean, that's certainly the belief, right? That it's because of his ego that, or sorry, because of her ego, and that she was likely into him, and that's how this all spiraled, and that's why Ryan Reynolds is so attached to it, and that's why he's so involved and coming at it so hard. Yeah, I don't know. What a time, what a time, what a mighty good time. A mighty, mighty good time. A mighty, mighty good time. Blake is mad at Tay Tay. Probably. Can they get another judge? Conflict of interest. It depends. I mean, I would imagine Brian Friedman has seen all the same things that we are. So if he doesn't seem to have an issue with it, it's possible that Lyman disclosed these conflicts of interest up front. Yeah. Jay O'Connor, the psychic, his name is Aphrodite, Anphrodite. I spelled that correctly in my head. Aphrodite. He's done a lot of good videos on this. She's destroying him because she didn't get her way. Yeah, it kind of feels like that. And how many times has she done this in the past? It's just so interesting that now she's suddenly like, I don't know how to file an HR complaint. Oh my God, what do I do? And it's like, well, actually, you filed an HR complaint on the set of Gossip Girl against your then makeup artist because you're like, oh, he touched my lip when he applied my makeup. What? He used his fingers to touch my face. What? A makeup artist using hands to touch your face to put makeup on your face? What? Them doing their jobs? How dare they? And then she's like, and then he recorded a video of me sleeping. And I'm like, and did what with it? Like, did you like fall asleep and he thought it was funny? Because how many times have you and your friends been like, oh my God, you fell asleep on the plane, you fell asleep on the train, you fell asleep in the car, you fell asleep, you know, whatever, how dare he? And so she filed an HR complaint and she wanted the makeup artist fired and they didn't want to fire him. They didn't do anything about it initially. And then she fought harder and threatened legal action, and then the makeup artist had to be moved to a different set. Not banned, but just moved to a different set where they were not in proximity to Blake Lively because she, felt threatened by him touching her face with their finger to put makeup on. Can they get another judge? They can if they, want to go that route. I don't think it's even worth going that route. I think even if another judge came in, I think the judge would make the same decision based off of the definition, the legal definition for defamation. I really was surprised. The biggest shock was to see that Ryan Reynolds' claims were dismissed, or the claims against him were dismissed for defamation, because that to me was a um, very clear case of defamation. He said something to someone, that caused him to lose his job, you know. Josh said, "Zach, you're getting some guns." Ooh, ooh, ooh. Trying, trying. Fana says, you're either into the Eyes Wide Shut club or not. Baldoni is too ethical for that hogwash." And that infuriated them. Yeah. I think they were expecting him to lie down and play dead because they bullied him throughout the production. And so we'll see. It's gonna be an uphill battle, I'll just tell you that now. It's gonna be an uphill battle. Lehman loves Gottlieb and Ryan. It's possible. Judge didn't wanna mess with Disney. Listen, I don't know. I can't believe Swifties are so blind and they keep supporting Blake. Why are they supporting Blake? Do they really? I mean, that's what I wanna understand. Why are the Swifties supporting Blake? Like, if anything, it kind of seems like the extortion claims and the threat to leak text messages was absolutely true, given the fact that Taylor Swift has not come out and spoken in support of Blake Lively. Not now, not then. They haven't been seen together. Doesn't appear that they're in touch. It's crazy. Any Swifties that are still believing Blake at this point are kind of crazy. Like, that's wild. It seems Taylor Swift absolutely does not want anything to do with Blake at this point. So I don't get how they're still supporting Blake. I don't see anyone supporting Blake though. Oh, trust, go on Threads. Go on Threads. You'll see all the people supporting Blake on there. All the wackadoodle Me Too psychiatrists and all the there was this one woman. This hold on, let me see if I can pull up the tweet because it was actually quite funny. It made me laugh. Oh my god, it gave me such a laugh, such a chuckle. Um, let's see. It's this doctor. Her name is Dr. Anna. Dr. Anna Oliverius. Sounds like an Olivirus. She said, I handle cases like Blake Lively's. I've been deeply concerned about this trend of reframing SH claims as defamation and then taking that to the court of public opinion. No matter how much you might hate Lively, you'll want this legal protection for yourself. Yes, for real victims, for people that don't have power and privilege and money, for people that don't lie and bully their way on sets. And then I looked at that and I was like, "Okay." And then I looked at her X account and her bio, and it says that she's a plaintiff's lawyer and a feminist. And she says she fights for equality and discrimination litigation, and then she discloses her pronouns are she, her. And I simply responded to this, and I said, "Feminist and she, her are all I needed to see in your bio to move on from this tweet." You know? And then people are like, "She's a doctor, and you're a limp-wristed nobody with a botched face." I don't think my face looks botched. Um, she's a PhD. She's not like a, but whatever. Good for her. She went to college and she got some A's. Good for her. Oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. We're doing fire alarm testing, which I guess means we should probably wrap. I was hoping that we can make it through the recording before they continue to do the fire alarm testing because they're doing it all day today. They're just tests. There's no actual fire in the building that we hope. Riots haven't burned us down yet. But yeah, I guess that's all we have on Blake. Her team is ready to take it to trial. She says she's ready for a deposition. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, I think she's done. So we'll try to wrap up here. How are the pups doing? Sully's doing about the same. Hopefully, he gets better in the coming days. But I did want to share something because I promised you guys I would do this because we're celebrating this together. Look at this. Oh, guess what I got? Guess what I got? My fucking bitch. My. Oh my god, it fucking works. We're good. Trying to steal my thunder. I got my plaque, guys. It's here. It's here. OMG. It's a little lighter than I was expecting, but oh my god. We did it. We did it, Joe. It's here. We got it. 100K for real estate. 100K. Hey, for real estate. Oh my god, I look so cute in it. That's great. Let's go. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh my god, you guys. We did it. 100K. Presented to Zack Peter for passing 100,000 subscribers. OMG. Do you remember your first subscriber? No, that was so long ago. Your 100th or your 1,000th subscriber? Chances are you do. And we know that you'll definitely remember your 100,000th subscriber. Thank you so much, YouTube. Thank you, Neil Mohan, the CEO of YouTube. So grateful, so exciting. Thank you guys for helping me hit 100K. I think we should celebrate. Let's celebrate right now by going on tour together. Guys, I'm coming to Dallas, Phoenix, Philly, Toronto, Brooklyn, Chicago, Seattle, and Los Angeles for the Zactivated Tour. Get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. Get your tickets now. We're at the 1 month countdown to kick off the tour. So exciting. I can't wait to celebrate with all of you guys. I can't wait to dive into more of the yummy discovery, break down Blake Lively's deposition that's happening this month. So we'll have something to talk about on the road, at least at our first show, which will be in Dallas on July 11th. So get your tickets right now before they're gone. Go to nofilterlive.com. Kenny says now 200K. Yes, that's the goal. We did it, guys. We did it. We did it. Thank you to the Academy. I just want to thank the Academy. I want to thank God. And I want to thank all of the Zack pack. Oh, I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I hope you have thank you for all the sweet messages. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow. I know today was a bit of a shorter episode, but I was just worried about the fire alarm testing. It seems to be a pause at the moment, but once it starts, it usually continues on and on and on for a little bit of a while. So I'll make sure for the clean audio and video that the edited version goes up on Apple and Spotify. That way you don't hear all of the fire alarm madness. But I wish we could have celebrated this a bit more. I'm just afraid the fire alarm might go back on again, but we did it, guys. We did it. We did it, Joe. Oh, and also I just wanted to say thank you guys for a lot of people really took in yesterday's episode and they listened and they digested without judgment. Some people judge, some people are like, you don't understand nuance and I couldn't finish this episode. And I'm like, well, you don't understand nuance because you should have listened to the whole episode because there were a lot of points that we made that I thought were really valuable. So, yeah. Well, for those people that listened and that were ready to listen, thank you. I'm appreciative of you. I'm grateful to you. And for the ones that weren't ready, that's fine too. I think we're all where we are on our journey of, learning and growing and trying to become better people. I hope to foster more of these types of conversations. Michelle said, absolutely loved the episode yesterday. Love you. And thank you so much for your insight. Yeah. So that means you're going to New York. Yes, I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York for the trial. For the trial. Lisa R says, loved yesterday's video. Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Michelle says, people heard what they wanted to hear. They aren't willing to listen to other people. It doesn't mean that you have to agree, but you can listen in hopes that others will listen to their side too. Geez, yes, I agree. I agree. Like I said, I spent the last 5 years talking to people all across the spectrum. So yeah. See, Hustle says, I listened, disagreed, but still respect it. And that's okay. Because at least at the end of the day, if we're willing to expose ourselves to an alternate opinion, and listen, Sean and I didn't agree on everything, you know? And as long as you're willing to expose yourself to somebody with a differing opinion and just listen to them, it kind of opens up your own level of awareness. Then you can understand, oh, this person is operating from this place, or this experience led them on that journey. Now I can understand where they're coming from, and now I can judge them accordingly. And I don't say judge in like a negative sense, but I can understand them differently, I guess is a better word, understand versus judge. Some people, I guess we can judge, right? We listen and we don't judge out loud. So yeah, yeah. Nobody puts Zach in a genre box. That's right. I know that's right. Do we know roughly how long the trial will take? I don't even know what's the standard. I mean, I would say maybe like 5 to 6 weeks. I believe prosecution. Well, you have her case and you have his case, so that might take. How long was the? How long was Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial? It was 6 weeks. Yeah, that's. I believe it's 6 weeks. I believe the prosecution or Blake would have 2 weeks, and then Baldoni would have 2 weeks, and then I believe they have 1 week for opening arguments, 2 weeks for Blake's case, 2 weeks for Baldoni's case, and then 1 week of closing arguments, and then jury deliberations. So we'll see. I look handsome today. Thank you. Don't I look handsome every day? Isn't that why Dave interviewed the one girl everyone hates and took mad flack for it? Yeah. I didn't love that interview. I felt like there could have been a little more discourse, or not discourse, but a bit more of a dialogue in that interview. We'll see. Michelle said, would love to see you have someone with a more liberal view to hear their side. And I thought about that. I was like, let's see how it goes with Sean, and let's see if this is something that the audience would be more interested in, is just having more fair and balanced conversations. I was even thinking of inviting that same reporter that Dave interviewed on. Well, he connected me with her, and we initially talked about it and I was kind of torn and I didn't know if I wanted to. But I think, listen, I'm not afraid of having a conversation with somebody that may not agree with me or trying to find some common ground with them, right? I ain't afraid of nothing. Nothing. Michelle, I've done episodes like that in the past where I've had people on opposing viewpoints of political issues on the show, and then we've gotten into it, or not gotten into it like in a negative way, but we've had those discussions before. So that has happened on the show before. I just didn't know if people would still be interested in that or want that. We did that a lot in 2020, and in the 2016 election as well. So there you go. The more you know. Jake Tapper's interview with Blake's lawyer was a disgrace. Yet another time, Jake is too late today. Jake Tapper is interview. Oh, God. Speaking of Jake Tapper, this Sunday. Oh, it's actually my birthday this Sunday. This Sunday we will be bringing back book club. I did promise you guys that I would bring back book club. So Sunday morning we will recap the next batch of chapters. If you want to read with us, Original Sin by, interestingly enough, by Jake Tapper. Original Sin. You can get your copy on Amazon. You can join YouTube members. There's a link below that says join the Zack Pack. You can click that and become a member of book club there. And yeah, there we go, guys. There we go. Love you. Appreciate you. Let's see. Should we do any? Let's do some shout outs. I feel like until the alarm comes back on, I want to give you guys shout outs. Please be sure to leave an Apple Podcast review. Should you feel so inclined, I would appreciate that. An honest review. And let's see what I know this. I noticed there were a lot of comments on Spotify. So let's leave an Apple Podcast review. I'll shout you out this week, and then let's see what Spotify comments had to say after yesterday's show. A little scared. I saw a lot of them came in. I like responded to one or two, but let's see where people stand. Um, Jesse Mama says, agreed with everything you said today. Awesome interview. Thank you. Raquel FM says, great talk, Zach, regarding the riots. It's scary what they have done to the city. These are not peaceful protests. Yes, there is a fraction, and I feel like that got lost in yesterday's message. There is a large fraction of people that are protesting peacefully. However, there is a small fraction of people that have hijacked the conversation. That was my point, is that we have to be able, like, we can't just pretend that the chaos isn't happening. We can't pretend that the stores aren't being looted. We have to address that and condemn those people. Even if you're protesting, condemn the people that are rioting so that the people that may not be on your side at least know that you don't stand for the destruction, that you don't stand for the looting. But right now, the conversation is like, don't talk about the rioting, don't talk about the looting, don't talk about that. But it's like they've hijacked the conversation. So we need to address it. And then when we address it and we collectively condemn that behavior, then we can find ways to productively get the message across, you know? That was my point yesterday, and I feel like that kind of got lost on some people. Daisy Solis says, "Why not bring up the January 6th riots?" Well, I would say January 6th riot, if you want to call it a riot. It would technically be one, it wouldn't be plural. I think the difference is one, these are riots that are happening throughout the country. Listen, I want to be very clear. I'm not defending January 6th at all. I was disgusted by it when it happened. I thought it was absolutely wrong. I don't think we should ever storm the Capitol or any sort of federal building, whether it's in the name of BLM, whether it's in the name of Donald Trump, or whether it's in the name of, an anti-ICE protest. I don't support destruction of any kind. I don't support the January 6th rioters. I don't support what happened on January 6th at all. That was wrong too. People got arrested. People went to jail. People served their time. I understand people disagree with the pardons, but those people were arrested. They did serve their time. What do you want to talk about that? But it was also the level of destruction and damage, I don't think are comparable, but we can have that conversation. And if you want me to address January 6th, I don't stand by that. Those people were arrested, served time, were 5 years later, 5 years later. Yeah, Judy says, I'm all for peaceful protesting, but when people get violent, not a fan. And that's the thing, peaceful protests are a thing. They absolutely are. And there are people that are peacefully protesting, in the name of immigrants. And I think that that's a wonderful thing, that we have the ability to protest and to make our voices heard. Now, we have to think of, the output versus the reaction and the response. And is this really making any change? Or are we just doing this to feel virtuous? Are we just doing this to have a photo to post online? Like, what change is actually being made. I think arguably we've gotten to a place where I don't know how much all these protests are really accomplishing anything at the end of the day. I think we've moved so far past that, but at least it's waking people up. At least people feel energized. They are taking issues that are important to them and they're voting about these issues, right? But also, as I said yesterday on the show with Sean, and I've talked to a number of my neighbors and friends that also live here in downtown LA, a lot of them that are saying if the election were happening this month, they would have voted for Donald Trump instead of Kamala Harris. So this narrative that the media wants to push out that Trump is losing support, this is where I'm speaking to my friends that maybe lean on the left or that voted Democrat this past election. I'm speaking to you in the sense that like yes, I understand you feel validated and want to support your causes, but you have to understand like people more and more people are leaving the Democratic Party. They're at a much lower approval rating than Donald Trump. Even when you want to say that he's losing points and he's losing approval ratings, that's fine. You can say that, but it's still a lot higher than Biden's was, and it's still a lot higher than the Democratic Party was. And arguably, there are conflicting polls on both sides, right? The same polls that are telling you Donald Trump's losing popularity are the same polls that were telling you Kamala Harris was going to win in the election. So you have to take them with a grain of salt, right? And expose yourself to a variety of different information and do your best. I always say the best way to gauge what's happening is to have conversations with people outside of your circle. That's one thing that I did over the last 5 years. That's how I predicted that Trump was going to win this election. And that's how I know that all of this reaction to ICE, and I very much said yesterday, and Sean said it as well, families that have been here for decades that have started families here, if they're undocumented, but they have lives here and they contribute to the economy, we need to find a path for them. We need to find, some sort of solution that addresses them. Right. But also at the same time, you have to understand that you're gambling and taking a risk by not getting your citizenship here. There is a chance you can be deported. I grew up in East LA. I went to school with kids whose parents were undocumented and they lived in fear of their parents being deported. But at the same time, as unfortunate as my heart breaks for these kids and or these young teenagers or young adults that are having these effects happen to their families, I get that and I feel bad for the children, but also who put them in that situation? Their parents did. You knew the risks. And so I have empathy. I think that we need solutions for families that have built lives here that contribute to our economy 1000%. I said it yesterday, and I feel like this fell on deaf ears that we're a melting pot and we're a country that's so diverse. And that's what makes us so unique and so incredible is that we are a diverse nation and that immigrants absolutely are an important part of the fabric of our country. I've I feel like that message has been loud and clear, but people, I feel like are parroting that all over social media that we need to also hear the uncomfortable truths. And unfortunately, I know I bring some uncomfortable truths. You may not agree with me, but I feel like sometimes we need to hear the things that are challenging. But I agree with especially with you, Michelle. Solutions are what we need to be focused on. And my thing is I don't know how much we're going to find solutions, even when it's come to a place of protesting. I think protesting in this day and age in 2025, I believe in the power of protesting. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying I don't know if that's being effective anymore. Because I think a lot of people are going out in the protests and they're holding up their signs and they're posting their pictures on Instagram. But how active are you in the voting polls? How active are you when it comes to the local elections? How active are you when it comes to getting politicians that we believe are going to further the mission, whatever that mission is? Sydney says immigrants are an integral part of our country. Yes to solutions. I agree. But again, it's a nuanced topic. It's nuanced. And I think the nuance of it is saying that yes, we can fight for immigrants and yes, we can believe in the importance of having immigrants in our country for sure and come from immigrants. But at the same time, we have to understand that there also needs to be a level of accountability. And unfortunately, you knew that there could potentially be the chance of deportation if you didn't try to become a citizen. And I knew a lot of those families growing up too that didn't care to get their status, for whatever their reasons were. But to me it doesn't make sense to be marching in the streets waving around the Mexican flag when you're fighting to not be deported back to Mexico. It's like you're taking pride in another country. Like in what world would I be able to go to another country, light shit on fire, denounce the president and say, "Not my president," while I'm waving the American flag. Like, that's insane. I can't go to France and be like, "You know what? Let me light up this car. Let me light up this Waymo. Let me wave the American flag and let me say, 'Screw Macron.'" Whether I like Macron or not, if I'm not, a citizen in France, then, like, that's I'm sorry, that's not my place to be, getting upset with the policies there if I refuse to become a citizen. And again, these are my people. My family comes from Mexico, right? Spanish and Mexican, and, like, I just I don't know. Yeah, Storm says, "Try that in a different country and it won't last long." Exactly. Exactly. Protests are making things worse. The unfortunate part is with protesting, we do border that line and then we get into the riots, and that's where it gets unfortunate. And, I think as, people that may be left leaning, you need to denounce the rioting and you need to acknowledge that it's a problem. And here's the thing, as somebody that lived in downtown during the 2020 BLM riots, things got out of hand and it escalated very quickly. So when I see the National Guard being called in, when I see the Marines being called, to me, and I can tell you in talking to a lot of my neighbors here in downtown, maybe not all of them, but for many of us, we weren't upset about that because we saw how things escalated in 2020, that we don't want to go down that road again. If we're going to bring in the National Guard, and I don't think that that warrants a greater reaction. I don't think that we should then become angry and try to fight the National Guard. I think that that means we need to do some inner self-reflection and find ways to continue with peaceful protests. We've done it for several years. The Women's March was a perfect example of that. Arguably, I'm not sure what the Women's March accomplished now looking back all these years, what, 9 years later. I'm not entirely sure what that accomplished at the end of the day, but it was important. It was powerful. It was a movement. I feel like voices were heard. We collectively stood together as a country. I marched in them with my mother, with my aunt, with my cousins, with my brothers. We did that together. And I believe that that was powerful. Again, I don't know how much of a result it led to at the end of the day. But you know what? That showed that we were able to do things without destruction, and we were able to be louder than anybody that may have been trying to hijack that movement with protest, with riots, or with looting at that time, because that wasn't part of that conversation. Whereas if you look at 2020, and unfortunately, the reality of the legacy of BLM is now that BLM burned cities to the ground all throughout our country. And that's the unfortunate reality, is now the message of what they were trying to get across has fallen on deaf ears, because all people remember now is the destruction that was caused at the time. Anytime I look at that time, I look back at living in downtown and being like, yeah, sorry. That's all I remember. And as much as people want to say it's a few bad actors, a few bad apples, my question yesterday is the same. How many is enough? How many stores need to get looted? How many bad apples is tolerable? When they hijack the conversation, we need to acknowledge that and condemn it. And that shouldn't be a bad thing. That shouldn't make you right wing to call out the rioters and to call out the looters and to bring attention to that and say, hey, fuck off. This is not okay. Don't do that. There's a more important message that needs to be heard in this. So stop fucking it up for everybody else. Because if you want to fight for immigrants, your brand new stolen iPhone ain't going to do shit. Okay? Knock it off. Yeah, and they used the BLM money that was donated for mansions. Yeah. And listen, unfortunately, that then tainted the entire movement. Let's see what other comments we have here. River in Utah says, I really enjoyed the topics of today's convo. I learned a lot and walked away feeling more knowledgeable about our country and the ways the media influences us. I'm glad. Jake Pooh Bear says, let's be honest, these people are paid to cause trouble. We need to find out who is funding this. Nothing has been mentioned about that. If we can address rioting, then we can have that conversation and see if anybody is funding this. But first, we have to be able to have a conversation about it. And then we can get onto the nuances and the layers behind it. But right now, the left does not want to talk about that. They're like, it doesn't happen. Let's just pretend that these are just a few people having fun watching cars be lit on fire. Like, that's the part that I'm just like, how hard is the noggin? Because all this is doing is continuing to build more support for Donald Trump, whether you like him or not. That's all this is doing. As Sean and I said on the show yesterday, I don't know a single person that confidently voted for Trump or was even on the fence about voting for Trump that now really feels like they fucked up. That's just the reality. You can speak to them. They're the ones that are not posting on social media. They're the ones that aren't loud. They voted quietly in the polls. They weren't participating in the CNN polls about who's more popular, Kamala or Trump, but they were the ones that went into the polls and helped him win a sweeping win in the 2024 election. I know that's an uncomfortable truth, but it's a reality. Legacy media won't let us have that convo. Well, that's why it's important for us to have that convo. but then there's, the negative reaction that people get, but it's like, and I understand that, we just need to listen and digest. We don't have to agree. I'm not telling you to agree with me. I'm just saying, hey, can we listen to each other? And to Michelle's point, I would love to have somebody with more liberal leaning viewpoints and have them come on these shows and discuss things further. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Laura. It's backfiring on them. It's giving more support to Donald Trump. As much as people want to believe that it's not, it absolutely is, because you're validating why there was a need to put him in office. Um, Andrea says, thank you for sharing your perspective. It's hard to really understand what's happening because of all the crap we get on social media and mainstream media. I'm here in Salt Lake City and they're planning a protest on Saturday. The governor just came out and asked for it to be peaceful, not violent, praying for everybody who is being affected by the things that are happening. I believe that Saturday's protest will be peaceful. That I will say. When it's organized like this and it's nationwide, that I will say, yes. I feel like the first few days, and the reason the National Guard was called in is because a lot of people were causing destruction throughout downtown LA. And then as the days went on, I feel like the daytime protests remained peaceful, but then there's a certain hour after dark that people turn, and that's when all the looting starts. But yeah, I had someone come into my DMs yesterday, and they're like, "You don't understand. Stop watching Fox News, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Sweetie, I'm not watching Fox News. I'm looking outside my windows. I'm listening to the helicopters and the sirens all night long when we're trying to sleep. I'm looking at the parts of downtown where I live that are being destructed, that are being tagged, that are being lit on fire. I'm watching that all before my eyes. I'm not following citizen journalists. I'm not watching the mainstream media news. I'm talking to my neighbors and I'm watching what's happening outside my own neighborhood. So that's where I get my information from. Because again, I think a lot of people will go on TikTok and they'll find someone that's a citizen journalist, whether they're liberal or more right leaning, conservative, and they'll continue to like validate that in their algorithm. So they'll continue to see that, whether it's solely rioting or only peaceful protesting. I don't pay attention to any of that. I don't let social media dictate just like the LA fires. I wasn't letting social media dictate what was happening. I was watching it outside my windows and I was like, this doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. I'm going to talk about this. You know, I live here, so talking to my neighbors is a real thing. We live all throughout the different parts of downtown. We've talked about these things. We've raised our concerns about these things, you know. Deanne says, great guest and great conversation. Thanks, Zach. 1218 says, go, Zach, you're so right. Melissa Sherman says, done with this podcast. Do not take legal or medical advice from this idiot and his bad takes on current immigration issues. And I responded to her and I said, well, I'm not an attorney nor a doctor, nor have I ever claimed to be. So I don't know why you would take medical or legal advice from me, but be well. The party. The party asked you to reject your own eyes and ears. That's the thing. When you told me that I shouldn't believe what I am seeing with my own two eyes, that's when I have concerns. I saw that during the riots, people raided shops like Apple. I lived around the block from the Apple store. I'm glad I don't live there anymore. My God, I remember the BLM riots in 2020. That was insane. People were throwing those Molotov cocktails at our windows. They were getting the scooters. They were banging the front doors with them. I don't think they were trying to break in. Um, But it was just like, you don't know. My fear that night was more of just like, I don't if shit goes bad, I don't know where we go. I remember downtown was closed off that night, like, they'd closed off the city, or they were at least closed off the freeways. So I'm like, I don't know how we get out. I don't know where we go. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen if shit really gets bad, And that was kind of like the fear, and I was watching them right outside my window break into, restaurants, break into, Starbucks, break into and again, and people were just like, "Well, why do you care about these companies that have insurance?" It's not about that. Why do you care about things more than people's lives? It's not about that, you know? I don't think that things will get worse. I'm praying they won't. I think come Saturday, the protest will probably remain peaceful. I think, I don't anticipate it getting bad, but we'll see. Leadership in California is a disgrace. I agree. Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom. I mean, it's very obvious that Gavin Newsom is trying to run his political campaign right now, which is ridiculous and pathetic to me that that's his priority over people, you know, over the people of California. But yeah, that's all I got. That's what I got for you. It's terrible that law-abiding good people have to live in fear. That behavior just doesn't make things better or support the cause. I agree, and I agree. Um, Mimir says, I'm trying to renew my membership. How the hell did I do it before? I believe there's a link in the description below that says join the Zack Pack, and you can click that link and you should be able to join book club or just the classic members only. I personally love hearing all views. I love to learn and see why people are the way that they are, think the way that they do. You have your Zach is your lawyer shirt. That's true. Zach, oh, thank you, Laura, for that shout out. We do, guys, we are running a merch campaign this week. My birthday is on Sunday, so I'm donating 50% of merch proceeds to Home Life Community, which is to support individuals with autism, like my brother Ethan. So 50% of my proceeds will be going to Home Life Community until June 15th, which is my birthday this Sunday. And then Justice for Justin shirts this week only. I'm donating, not 50% will not be going to Home Life, but 50%, or sorry, 100% of the Justice for Justin merch sales, or my proceeds for those merch sales, will be going to nomore.org. So either way, whatever you purchase the um, in the merch shop, it'll will be supporting a good cause either way. So you can get a Never with Teeth shirt. Zach Peter is my lawyer. Do I look like I just fell out of a coconut tree? Justice for Justin. Zach Pack. Zactivated. Options. Go to nofiltermerch.com. All right, I think that's all I have for you. I love you. I appreciate you. If you have a great rest of your week. Is it a pledge or a donation? As of right now, it is a pledge because the sales have not come in yet. But it will be a donation, and I will post the receipt as I did last time when we raised, what was it, over 6,000 for nomore.org with the last Mommy Sleuth, Daddy Sleuth Justice for Justin campaign. So there you go. There you go. As of right now, it is a pledge until we have the final numbers. And then once the numbers are in, it will be a donation. Okay. But as of right now, it is a pledge. Are you going to do a Betty Boo's taste test of the new flavors? Maybe if they can find them. News on creeps me out. Oh, oh, Newsome. I was like, who's news on? All right, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Get your merch, get your tour tickets, and be safe. Send love. Be willing to listen. And yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow for Friday. All right. Ciao for now. Love you. Mean it. Bye.